Hello, everyone, and welcome to another week of This Week in Eorzea. Thank you so much for watching. I have Pyra with me, as always. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, friends.
Yay!
Happy
I know there's like so much going on in the game right now. It's kind of hard to keep up with, but
riveting.
We'll try to do our best to bring you literally all of the news. All of the 2 things we came up with for news.
All of the new. Is there a singular for news? Is it just new? All the new.
All the new. The one new. Okay, so let's get right into it because this hour is gonna go fast. First news, companion app error was fixed. So there was an error that prevented the purchase of Mog coins. I know everyone was sitting there waiting for that to get resolved, and it was eventually. Yay!
4 hours on the seat of my chair. My coins!
And what was the other new?
The other new was Xbox players, if you had login issues or coins again, Mog Station online store, like if you were doing things on Xbox, it probably went down for like 4 hours today, so more than likely you had issues, but those should have been resolved. As soon as I saw the notification that there was an issue, it was resolved.
Yay!
Yay! Sorry, Xbox. Bravo.
Good job, dev team. Okay, they were on it. I mean, as you guys have kind of gotten the sense of already, we're kind of just in a holding pattern right now, coming out of Dawn Trail. Yoshi B is making sure all of his staff get vacation time. In this lull before the first MSQ patches start coming out. We also got a little bit of a tidbit that they're looking at feedback from the visual update to the game and going to make some tweaks with that in the next undefined amount of time. So look forward to that as well. But honestly, we're just all progging, hanging out, leveling up those classes in anticipation of the next major update. And they should be announcing a live letter soon.
I would definitely expect it to be soon, especially, like, if nothing else, I think 7.1 should be the next thing we see, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there should be any other patches in between unless it's something, so I could definitely see us getting that information at latest. I would think end of September we have something happening.
Oh, absolutely.
Some rustle and bustle.
I mean, my bet was on getting an announcement about a live letter, like before the end of August. Like, it really should. There's been a couple of weeks now of like all's quiet on the Western Front, and it's kind of a little bit eerie. So,
yeah, I think you're onto a good point though, where like a lot of the dev team are probably taking vacations now. Especially, I didn't even think about it too. This isn't 14 news. It is 16 news. Final Fantasy 16 is coming to PC next month. I just thought about that right now.
It's posted on the upcoming dates.
Is it?
Yes.
Look at me
upcoming
forgetting.
dates.
Sorry, I pushed this into the next thing.
Come on, keep moving.
But yeah, it's coming out soon, so I think there was a lot of dev team members that were working on 14 and 16 before Dawn Trail and when 16 was launching. So they probably had some R&R, and then they're probably getting into 16 stuff to make sure that launch goes smoothly, and then probably, hopefully, then the patch. So
absolutely. So you're right. Like, all those people will want to be back and in top form in order to tackle any bugs that happen on launch with those PC versions. So that is September 17th. And there is going to be the ability to buy a complete edition that has the 2 DLC as well. So anyone who has not had the opportunity to play 16, your time is coming. Which is crazy because the rest of us, I think, have already forgotten about it and may end up replaying it. Well, that's how I feel. I'm like, I haven't done the DLC. Maybe I need to replay it a little bit, like around the time everyone else is, to just be part of that like conversation again.
Yeah. It'll be good. And for people like me who didn't get to play because they don't own a PlayStation, I'm super excited for it. I'm excited to, because like Dawn Trail still has a lot left in it too, but I'm excited to like, now that the major stuff is kind of done, and I'm like still working on Savage, but a lot of the major things for me are done for Dawn Trail's launch period. I'm excited that I get to play 16 before 7.1 happens.
Yay! Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. Can't recommend it enough. And unfortunately, we never as a community really got to talk about it because we were all still like avoiding spoilers for half of the player base who weren't able to play it. So it'll be nice to actually just have some open conversations about it and get to see like a lot of the art and fan works and stuff like that come to the front. So
absolutely. I think there's going to be a nice like second wind for the game because I do remember a lot of the talk when it came out. And I'd even gone to the Leviathan DLC panel back at PAX East in March. And there was a lot of hype around that DLC too. And so I definitely think it's kind of like fallen a little stale since then. Haven't heard much about it. And now that that's going to return for PC players, we'll probably hear a lot more chatter about it in socials.
Absolutely. And probably the only other date we have on our radar right now, again, is the 26th, which is the end of the Moonfire Fair. So if you have not gotten your main character or your alts through it, it's gonna go before you realize it. So go and complete those quests. Get your big stick fan thing and wish it was perpetual.
Every day makes me so sad. Oh, I could have literally an hour rant about that by itself.
But instead, we have something else we can rant about. So let's I guess move into today's hot topic. Hot pockets. Monetization tactics. So I don't know. You guys might have heard another YouTuber by the name of Josh Strife Hayes. Kind of semi-famous. He does a series called The Worst MMOs, where he does like reviews of MMOs. And some of these MMOs have very terrible monetization policies, where you're literally playing through the game and a big box pops up on the screen saying, hey, buy gems at, half price today only and tomorrow only. And that sort of thing. So when we talk about Final Fantasy as being a MMO that has a paid component to it, is it fair? Or is it kind of taking advantage of some very niche markets here? So let's take a look at that. I have got this mini segment that I call Fair or Foul. So I'm going to break this down bit by bit. And Pyra, you're going to tell me whether you think this is fair or foul. Okay?
Perfect.
You can even give it a rating out of 10 if you want, I suppose. So let's look exclusively first at the sub price. So this is what you pay monthly to have access to the game. So there are two different sub prices. There's like the $12.99 and the $14.99, or the US prices may be slightly different, depending on whether you have alts or don't have alts. Is this fair or foul?
I'd say fair. I'd like to say fair for this one. And I've come to a conclusion in my head that out of 10, it'll be 10 being the highest amount of Hot Pockets. I would say that this... the pricing, I would say, is like a good 7-8 Hot Pockets out of 10. It's a lot of people I feel like have had a controversial take on pricing, but like I feel like we get so much with the game to keep servers up and all the things, so I like it. Or like I'm okay with it. It'd be free would be better, but you know, I'm okay with it.
I mean, that would be nice, but I mean, I think the average person understands that the game has continuing costs of keeping the servers alive and everything, so we kind of expect a sub price. I think the $12.99 and $14.99 price is similar to most large retail MMOs. And I mean, I spend as much time on Final Fantasy XIV as my husband does, like, Netflix or Prime TV, and those
Yeah.
are very similar costs. So I think, yeah, maybe value per hour per dollar is kind of reasonable, I think, for sub price. I think it's fair. I think it's fair.
I'm glad you equated it to that too, because it's an entertainment monthly subscription if you kind of want to like zoom out, and exactly that, like that price point is very similar, if not cheaper, than the YouTube Premium or Netflix or Hulu. And at the same time, we're still getting consistent updates. We're still getting these grand big servers. We're still getting constant patches and sub patches. So, I mean, if it was just kind of like maybe like a few patches a year or like not that much, I maybe would be a little salty about it. But I think for the amount of content we get, it's a good range.
Absolutely. And I mean, I didn't include this at the beginning, but some people have mentioned, like, what about game cost overall or expansion costs? So do you feel that the cost of an expansion, being the price it is fair or foul?
I'd say fair too. And again, some of it is kind of on them, but like there's a large amount of effort that goes into the launch of an expansion, and I don't think there's anything wrong with them kind of getting a little bit of extra for that. Even just the amount of awareness to get everybody on board, the amount of fan fests and media tours, and sure, they have their own income streams too, but you know, there's a lot that goes into that backbone that is each individual expansion. So I never mind putting that extra $60 plus, depending on collector's edition and things like that. I never mind that at the expansion level.
Yeah. No, and I mean, from my point of view, like as a former WoW player, being used to getting like an expansion every 18 months or so, Final Fantasy's expansion release schedule of being at least every 2 to 3 years is much more reasonable if you're investing. Like, the price for us is usually about $90 Canadian. Like, yeah, it's the price of a full AAA game, but I mean, the amount of content and how frequently they make you purchase it versus how much they give you for free in the interim, I think is fair. I think it's fair.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna slowly become more controversial here. Okay,
start off with the easy ones.
Yeah, start off with the easy ones. Okay, next one is the MOG station. So the MOG station is how they get money from name changes, server transfers, additional retainers. This is kind of like account basic stuff that just gets tacked on to your monthly sub price and charged at whatever interval it's charged at. So, name changes, server transfers, retainers, fair or foul?
Name changes, server transfers, and retainers. I would say fair. And 2 of them I have partaken in myself. I've not done a name change. But I have definitely transferred servers twice, and I have retainers because I'm a hoarder.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think for me, the name change, I think, even though I haven't partaken in it, it seems pretty fair too, because I understand why they can't have people change names willy-nilly. Like, I feel like it's probably a lot, especially when there's like, you need to make sure 2 people on the same server can't have the same name. Yeah. You can have it on different data centers, you can't on names. So it's like, it's kind of like an extra, kind of like the retainers, like they're all of that is like takes a little extra effort outside of the norm. And it probably honestly helps them from people just doing it, like with open floodgates, just kind of constantly trying to change servers or change things like that.
Oh, yay. So, retainers. Now, the pushback I've seen is them charging a cost for in-game space and the ability to sell more things on the market board. Now, you said fair. Can you defend that for retainers, or?
That one is tough. Now that I'm thinking of just retainers as an individual, I think it's fair but greedy, if that makes sense. Question mark. I think the cost is fair if I'm going to have to pay a monthly kind of add additional I think it's $2
Yeah, it's
for
$2 for retainer. Yeah.
It doesn't bother me so much because I think I have 5 retainers total, so that would be 3 paid. Am I correct there? I think. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I've been here.
It depends on whether or not you have the companion app.
But I do have the companion app, so I pay for $2. So for me, an extra $4 a month, and it kind of makes my experience better. I don't think is bad. However, it is a little greedy. Like at this point in the game, I kind of wish that almost like the free Fantasia, they would have given us another additional opportunity to get more free retainers. Especially, that would even be a really good perk. Thinking off the top of my brain, that would even be a really good perk for like a veteran reward. Like, hey, you've been with us for a long time. Here's a retainer. It definitely seems like they're kind of trying to dig in pockets, but I'm also not worried about the cost as much, if that makes sense.
Right. So, I mean, I can't argue this one because I have 10 retainers, but like, is paying for retainers, given that retainers are the only way to list things on the market board, is that kind of pay to win? Like, do you think someone could reasonably argue that maybe people with a little more money can have an advantage in the game?
Potentially. I think it's tough because I've never had my retainers be to the point where like they're all selling out constantly. Like I've had stuff on my retainers for forever. I think it does give an advantage for people who aren't online every day, because if you're not online every day to adjust your retainers to put new things on the market board, it potentially gives somebody else an advantage that that can just have like we'll say 10 like max amount of retainers just full. So
yeah, no. And in case people didn't know, I know this. Even if you have your retainers selling stuff, if you don't log into the game for a span of time, I think it's like a week, they remove all your items from the market board and you have to re-log into that retainer to have them relist again. So it's not like having the retainers and putting stuff on them to sell just keeps them up for sale indefinitely. That doesn't work that way, but
yeah.
I sure appreciate all that extra space, though.
Yep. Housing items and extra glamours and...
Now, so here's the rub. So if you've got a retainer system, they can hold 175 slots each. Mm-hmm. Are they benefiting financially from keeping the size of the glamour dresser small?
Oh, I think so. Even if that's not their goal, they absolutely are. I mean, if I could fit more in my glam, like say if there were 200 slots in like additional to the glamour dresser, I could get rid of a retainer right now. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people in this game are like that. Like a lot of people, and myself included, there are, and maybe it's just an old fart and it's like a principle of like, I took 10 hours or, you know, I took 10 weeks to farm this one piece of gear. And so even if I don't wear it, I keep it because of the trauma.
Right.
I do this.
It's like a trophy. You just staple it to the wall. Yeah.
Yeah. Even like the Savage like books and totems and stuff like that. I can't. I've just started to bring myself to get rid of A Realm Reborn and Heavensward, and it hurt. And I'm like, I can farm this solo in 10 seconds, but it hurt. So it's they know how to get you.
No, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. So do you still stand by Mog Station as being fair overall?
I'd say overall. If I had to give an overall rating, because of the retainers being kind of a money grab, we'll say 6 or 7 hot pockets out of 10.
Dropped a hot pocket. Okay. Okay. The online store. So this is the site that you go to where you can buy glams, mount minions, and past seasonal items. So this is where you can pay money for items that exist only in game, and the majority of them now cannot be traded to other players and are available only on one character, with the exception of a few mounts, which are still account-wide. So online store, is it fair or foul?
Do we consider the level skips into the online store?
We can judge that separately. So this is just glams, mounts,
Just
minions, and
glams,
seasonal
mounts,
items.
minions. I kind of want to say the fair, but on the same lines of the money grab. It's tough because it's like it's dancing for me in my head on the fair and foul. If I had to break it down, when I think of the seasonal events, I kind of understand that. I kind of understand that there's kind of an exclusivity, bleh, words are hard, where, you know, if you get it for free, you have an opportunity to get that item for free. And then if you weren't here when it was out, you get to pay for it. I think that that makes sense. I think that that's a fair system. And it helps kind of incentivize people playing the game, I would say, and staying on, participating. Mounts? Oh, mounts might turn this foul for me because it's one of those things where I do have a handful of Mog Station mounts. The price on some of them is insane. Like, it's kind of robbery. Even, like, was the most expensive one, which I have. Funny enough, the whale, the 8-man whale. And I'm like, literally, because of who I am, I had to get it. I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy that it costs so much. So, I don't know. Maybe it's turning into a foul for me. What about you, Debbie? How are you with those?
See, I think the online store has evolved over the last 10 years or so. I remember back in the day, things there used to cost less. They used to be available for all characters. Like, there was a lot more account-wide stuff. There were fewer mounts, sure, but they cost less and had little perks, like the Fenrir with the increased mount speed. So yeah, it was like a $28 mount, but you had the advantage of having a higher land speed back in like A Realm Reborn, where you literally rode everywhere. So it was worth it. But I find that items now are just, it's like that pack size shrinking, like micro economics, penny pinching. Like they're giving us maybe items that are far more beautiful, more tempting, more desirable, but they have fewer in-game effects and they're available on just the one character. And so if you have alts, if you want it on a different character, you're going to have to buy it twice. And you can't even gift them anymore. Like if someone wanted a particular mount, you can't buy it for them. So as much as I've spent on the online store, I think this part of it is probably a foul for me.
I have to agree. You brought up a good point too. Like, you reiterated a good point with the one mount per character, not account wide. That to me is like, when you're getting like sometimes $20+ for a mount and you can have it on a single character, like that's kind of insane. Like, and the amount that they're coming out with, and of course they're the shiny new toy, but it's like, you're trying to get me to spend hundreds of dollars on mounts and you're not even going to give me the opportunity to have it on my alt? For shame.
And yeah, and the glams. Yeah, there are glams I would like to buy. But if you take a look at them, like glams used to have status increases. Like it would increase your stats. It would give you a bonus to experience under level 30. There was a point to buying glam from the store. And they haven't updated that in forever. So to date, none of the new glams have those same bonuses. And if they do, they still end at level 30. And do you know how long it takes you to get a class to level 30? Like less than 30 minutes. Like in most cases, you can get a class to level 30 in less than 30 minutes. Like it just goes so fast. So it's just they need to give, I think, a little bit more.
Absolutely. Another thing with the glams too, because I had this a few years ago for my birthday. One of my friends got me the Lise outfit. Half of the outfit, I think, is like the whole thing is one piece.
Right, the same with the Minfilia one. Yeah.
If I'm paying that much money, like I can understand maybe the Minfilia one a little bit because it's kind of like one thing with like the skirt and the top, but like for Lisa's especially, and I know there's been some others that are kind of like a one piece or a couple pieces. Give us the option to take like Lisa's outfit. I hate the shoes. I hate the pants. I would love to switch it. They don't let you, and I'm like, if I'm paying cash, like hard-earned money, like let me at least swap it up, or maybe not dye it if you want it to stay the original color, but like a little bit of customization. Like not the whole thing, but like a little bit of customization would be nice, especially if we're like going out of our way to pay money. It does feel like a bit of a foul. Like they're like, oh, we have this asset in game, copy paste, here's a price tag on it, where it's like you could have adjusted it a little bit and then it would have been worth my money.
There you go. Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely. It's really you want to have it because it's something new. It's something you don't see very often. But it's a trap. It feels like a trap.
It is a trap.
Okay. The other half of the online store is, like you said, character or game improvement items. So these are Fantasia, story skip, level skip, the retainer skips. Fair or foul?
This one's tough for me because I'm on this weird fence with level skips where I don't think I would ever like be mad at somebody for taking the advantage of it, but it kind of makes me sad that the advantage exists personally. Especially to such a high level with the level skips. It's not my cup of tea. That being said, like Fantasias. I've had my fair share of Fantasia uses, and I'm in love with my Vieira girl now, so I will not be using a Fantasia, but I do love me some Fantasia. I do love being able to, especially since they changed it. I haven't used it, but having that 60 minutes, I think it's 60 or 30.
60,
post,
yeah.
Yeah, that just made it way more worth it for me. So I'm kind of like in this weird half fair, half foul, because the Fantasia system, especially since it got reworked, chef's kiss. Fantastic. You shouldn't have to make a whole new character for... like, if you had to make a whole new character instead of Fantasiaing, that would be awful. If you would have to, I don't like how I look, I guess I'm gonna throw away years of work. Like, that would be terrible. But I still get weird feelings about the level skips, especially just because it feels like I've seen so many players come in, and I've seen players that have played hard, like, from the beginning and don't know what they're doing. But I've also seen a lot of people that use the skip, and then they kind of don't know what they're doing, but they also don't want to learn, and then like, chaos.
Yeah. So here's a question. I had someone give the feedback that they thought the story skip / level skip books were pay to win. Now, by definition, do you think this is true?
It depends on what somebody's... I know this is like not an answer,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It depends on what someone's definition of win is. If their definition of win is like, for instance, going through all the story to get to the end of it, then it kind of does feel like a pay to win. Yeah, it's not an answer, but it like it's kind of true. Sometimes it shouldn't matter to me what somebody else does. But sometimes when I'm like, yeah, I did all these things and I've been here forever and I'm this level, and then someone walks in, they're like, ooh, shiny on the marketplace, bam, I'm level 90. I'm just like, huh? What? You know how many years and hours this old soul has been to get to this point?
Well, I think I feel that way regardless when I see new players flying around in Heavensward in A Realm Reborn. It's like, come on! Come
Back in my
on!
day, we had to walk uphill both ways in the snow.
Oh my god. But, I mean, when you use, for anyone who hasn't used it and doesn't know what it does, for anyone who used the story skips, it takes you to the first quest of the last expansion. So now that we're in Dawn Trail, it brings you to the first quest of Endwalker. Now, with level skips, it brings you to the max level of the previous expansion. So now that we're in Dawn Trail, that's level 90. And it gives you 1,000,000 gil, and it gives you some 90 appropriate armor. So, I mean, is it going to put you competitive and able to get immediately into Savages? Absolutely not. So in my mind, it's not pay to win because it's not going to put you competitive with current players. However, I mean, I used it when they went on half price, so that I could create an alt on another data center that I didn't have to put so many hours into leveling up to play with other people. So when you look at yourself as a streamer, you want to maybe play with people on EU, you want to play with people who are in other areas, and that involves creating alts. Do you really want to invest a couple thousand hours into each of them? Not really. So I can see it as being a useful tool. Or even maybe a person who wants to play with their friends sooner rather than later and doesn't really care about the story. You can get there sooner. Will you possibly want to go back and experience it again? Possibly, but that's on you. Fantasia. Listen, I've spent like a lot of money on Fantasia, and I only buy them when they're on sale. They go on sale, and you can get like 3 of them for $10. That's when I buy it, okay? But I've spent a lot on Fantasia. I am really gunning for an item that's like perma Fantasia, where you can just like buy a ticket that's like your character just doesn't know what they are. But that being said, I did use the Fantasia recently and changed to an Eorzea, and I can say the 60 minutes is absolutely wonderful. So what I did was I created 2 character images that I potentially wanted. So I created the female Eorzea and I created a female Pyra. And what I was able to do with that 60 minutes was I went into the character editor, I flipped to the appearance data for the Eorzea, went into game. I was able to check out all my portraits. I was able to check out all my glams. I was able to go to the esthetician and see what kind of hairstyles I had access to and how they looked. I was able to go through my glamour dresser, see how things fit that I really liked to wear, and then log out. And then I was able to do the same thing with the Pyra. Go on, check out my portraits, check out my glams, check out my glamour dresser, the esthetician, and then I was able to log out. And then I was able to make a final decision on kind of which one I was leaning towards, go into the character editor again, maybe make some minor tweaks to like hair color or eye color, especially eye color and skin color, because like you can't change those after the fact, log back in, and just make sure I'm satisfied with the final result of everything. And and that was all within 60 minutes. I think I had like 15 minutes left over. So as someone who maybe suffers from buyer's remorse after a Fantasia, which is why I sometimes buy them in packs of 3, it really got rid of that. I was able to check everything and be perfectly sure of what I was spending the money on. So I think what they've done to Fantasia is fair.
Absolutely. I still think that I'm gonna pull a string and pull down a banner, and it's Debbie's intervention.
You know what? You're not wrong. I'm sure people are planning it right now in chat. I see those. Right now, I see those chat messages.
But no, I think that that's fair. I think that that's definitely very fair. Absolutely.
Okay. So what was your overall on that half of the online store? I know you were kind of...
I'm teetering. I'd say on the fair. If I had to give a little wish, and again, it's just a personal wish about the system for the level skip, because I'm also someone who I do believe in, like, I think it would be nice if you could kind of get through some little intro period in the game, even if it was like a novice network, like low level, like here are the basic foundations, and then you can do a level skip or something of that nature, so that people kind of get a little sample, kind of get a little, you know, here's basic mechanics that you'll see in a dungeon and whatever. And then skip something like that. I think would make me feel a little bit more on the fair side. But
you've had too many 90s roulettes gone wrong, haven't you?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Someone, you tell a level 90 tank, hey, can you turn on tank stance? What's tank stance? Oh, no.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now we move on to arguably the most controversial, the companion app. So there are two ways that Final Fantasy gets money through the companion app. The first is the companion app sub fee. So you pay $6 and something, I believe, per month to have access to the premium version of the app. And this provides you a free teleport location and a second complete saddlebag, so a right and left saddlebag. And then Mog coins. So Mog coins you purchase as a currency to be able to sell things on the market board from your phone, and for now assigning retainer ventures. Keeping in mind that quick ventures, not quick ventures, hunting ventures are the only ones you can assign from the app. So, companion app, fair or foul?
For that price point, I'd say foul. I don't have the paid subscription. The second not retainer, the second saddlebag space sounds fantastic, like the second full saddlebag, but the limitations on like the ventures are kind of weak for me. I want to love it more. I'm definitely like, I want to be convinced that the companion app is something that I will use on my day-to-day, but for the amount that I am away from my physical game, I don't think it's a perk for my life.
No, and that is understandable. I do pay for the premium companion app, but I've never purchased Mog coins. So with the premium companion app, you do get up to 10 Mog coins at a time. I usually just use maybe 5 or 6 of those, honestly. I got it for the saddlebag space, and I haven't been able to let it go since. You kind of you grow to the size of your tank, and I grew, and now I can't go back down. So
that's more than fair. I'm sure it gives you a maps advantage too, because that would be an extra map.
You can't. Right? It still counts as one, but it just gives you the twice the space.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah,
I can imagine it's very helpful for sure. Mine's always full of junk stuff.
Yeah. See, the thing is, and here's the danger. The companion app is also charged at the same time as your subscription. And I have my monthly subscription charged on a 6-month basis. So it's like I get charged like $300 for 6 months of the game, and then I like pay it, forget about it, and just go on my merry little life until the next like $300 charge drops. And so I don't really think about it. I suppose if I was seeing like the $6.95 charge every single month on my statements, it would be like, okay, yeah, this is really painful. because I mean, we're getting killed these days on subscriptions, right? Like everyone, I can't imagine anyone has fewer than like 5 things they subscribe to. I know I've probably got at least double that, and I go through like every month and say, okay, is there anything I can get rid of? Like, it's just crazy. So the fact that it is another subscription that does include space in game, like the retainers, and I am paying for 10 retainers, and I've got the companion app. I think I might be fouled. I think.
Here's intervention poster number 2.
Oh my word. Yeah.
They get you. They get you.
They know where it hurts, and they know that hoarders can't help themselves.
Yeah, that's what's tough too, because we can help ourselves. And then some part of me is like, are you sure you couldn't implement this for free? Like, are you just doing this because you want the extra money?
Right? And I get that feeling every time they announce like a 200 space upgrade for the glamour dresser. It's like either you have the ability to double it or you don't. Like, don't just increase it by like 150, 200, which I automatically fill up right away and just carry on with a full glamour dresser. Like, right? Or am I just...
Absolutely. It drives me nuts too. Like, even when we got the first update in like edition, it was full in like barely no time. I had to physically leave like 10 slots in it just to tell myself to not put everything in it. So, ugh.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we're talking about them intentionally lowering the quality of life of the game by limiting inventory space because of how much they make on selling items to alleviate that problem, that seems a little foul.
Absolutely. I'm still caught in the trap.
we recognize that it's a trap, but we're still stuck here. Like,
my wallet somehow ended up open again. I don't know what to do.
Oh my god. Okay, so based on everything we've talked about, overall monetization, what are your thoughts? Fair or foul? We understand that an MMO has huge costs associated with its maintenance, but is the amount of money they're bringing in appropriate to what we're getting in exchange?
I think confident. Like, my confidence level is not 100%. I would say mostly fair. And I say this because a lot of games are becoming very like freemium, or like really emphasizing a heavy burden onto the paid perks. I think Square Enix still gives us a lot for what we have, like our normal subscription, what we normally pay for versus the add-ons. I do love the shiny things, but I don't feel like if I don't buy them that my experience is any less valid. And so because of that overarching reason, I would say fair.
Okay. A solid how many Hot Pockets?
Hot Pockets, I would say a solid 7.
Okay.
I'll give it a solid 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I love your optimism.
Maybe it's too optimistic.
I mean, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, like, they don't do anything shady. So there is no content in the game that is barred by paid access, in terms of like having to pay an additional amount to access premium dungeons or whatever. Like, there's no barriers inside the game. There's no, you open up your inventory screen and there's a little ad in the corner. Like, there's nothing super shady going on. They don't sell you items on the online store with a premium currency that they sell in uneven increments. So you have to buy more than what you need in order to get the thing you want. Like, those shady things that a lot of other, especially free-to-play MMOs have. It doesn't. But at the same time, they are very good at knowing what it is you want and offering to sell it to you. So the items are there. No, nothing's making you buy it. The game isn't pay to win such that if you invest a lot of money, you will play better. You don't. They don't sell items intentionally on the online store. They don't sell armor intentionally on the online store. You can't go and get better gear than anyone else. But if you want to look really cool, you can. So I guess the Final Fantasy XIV whales, whales being a term for people who spend a lot of money on online games in order to be better than other people, are just really fancy looking. So because of this, I wouldn't call Final Fantasy by any means pay to win, but you really got to have a sponsor and a buddy who you can clear purchases by, I guess. I don't know. It's skirting the line, isn't it? It's not foul because they're not doing anything overtly misleading. But it's not entirely fair either because they make you want it. They make you want it. Okay. So I would probably give a 6. 6 hot pockets.
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what else do we is there anything else you wanted to add to this whole like monetization topic?
I'll just kind of repeat what you said a little bit about, like, I do think it's like, because they're so honest about it doesn't feel shady, and so therefore I'm still somehow caught in the loop of here's my money. Yeah, like I can at least, even if I don't agree with all the things, I can at least respect it because it is so like upfront about the pay, like, you know, not the pay to win, shiny glams, no weird currencies, nothing like that. I may not always love it, but I do respect it.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, I think that kind of sums it up. Absolutely. So moving on, we've got a very appropriate tip of the week. Tip of the week is, if you don't know what to spend your grand company seals on, why not buy loot boxes? Now, yes, the Final Fantasy XIV has loot boxes. These are in the material tab of the highest ranking in your grand company. There's one for A Realm Reborn and Heavensward, and there's one for Stormblood and Shadow. No, just Stormblood. Just Stormblood, I think.
Stormblood, yeah.
Yeah. So they are 4,200 each. I should have done my research.
That sounds right.
It sounds right. And you open them, and each has like a minion or a mount from those expansions. So if you're missing some in your collection, including some really rare mounts, that is a way to pick them up, especially if you just got Grand Company seals sitting around. So have you ever done this?
Yeah, especially when I'm starting to like pick up all that extra gear and I don't know what to do with it, or if I'm really trying to do a purge, I'll absolutely turn everything into my Grand Company and save up for the loot boxes, because there's nothing really that the Grand Companies sell that I can't get elsewhere. Like sometimes I'll do the ventures, but I usually get that from like PvP most of the time. Same thing with like the dark matter. So typically if I have extra Grand Company seals, it's always going towards the loot boxes.
Yeah, I mean, you might get lucky. You might. I did a video, I'm pretty sure is on YouTube. This is a while back, where I opened 100 of them and did a price comparison on how much they were selling for at the time. So if you want to have an idea of roughly the value of 100 loot boxes, you can check that video out. I'll try to put the link in the description below later on tonight. Yeah, it's not a plug. It's just in case, you know, if you're gambling and you want to know the odds.
Go look at the video. Do it. I'll plug it. Watch it.
What aren't we talking about this week?
Well, we're talking about using financial means, actual dollars for potential wins in the game. We're not talking about guild selling.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So,
everyone's
last thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those really taboo subjects we really don't talk about as a community. There are, I mean, everyone sees the shouts. Like there's shouting in the starting cities, you know, go to this website .co space M or whatever, you know. I've never done it myself. I've never looked into it. I was dismayed when I went to an informational Final Fantasy site and found that they did that sort of thing on the side and then never went back. What does Gil even get you anyway? Like, there are no houses for sale, so just, you know, just I think Gil sellers just make the game that much more infuriating because most of the rules we have were created to prevent them from doing what they're doing. So they were the people that caused all this extra hassle. The reason why we can't trade objects freely from the online store anymore. You know, they're all the rules we have that prevent us from doing fun things are because of Gil sellers. Just blame it all on them. And then I'm not talking about it anymore. What about you?
Absolutely. I'm on the same point where it's just I've also never partaken in it. Now being in the game for so long, there's no reason to. Like, sure, I love Gil like everybody else does, but like not to do some sketchy back alley trading and like, you know, the guy with a trench coat, like, hey, here's this, and here's a virus, and here's, you know, whatever else. We stole your credit card number, haha. So I would never, personally, I think it's not necessary if you're just starting the game. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's a con. Also, exactly like you said, so many things. You can't even send people tells anymore, I believe, without them being on your friends list. Like, there's so many systems in place because of the Gil sellers. And it's annoying. Even I miss going on the lodestone and like snooping what my friend has for mounts and buying them a mount for like their birthday. I can't buy and trade them out anymore. So it's like, darn you, Gil sellers.
Yeah, and I mean the restrictions on the free accounts, like the trial accounts, are really ridiculous. It doesn't give you a good idea of how the game plays because they take out literally all interaction you have with other players in the free trial, just to prevent Gil sellers from using those accounts to do their things. So, sorry, I wasn't talking about it.
They used to, well, I haven't stopped talking yet. They used to also break like the game. I don't know if you remembered. I clearly remember being in zones like Limsa and 10 like black mages or like clones just going through the floor, like going to the market board and then like somehow disappearing into the floor. And I'm like, huh? And then like people would be like, what is going on? What is happening? And it's like, you guys are the reason we can't have nice things.
Yeah, no, it still happens way too often on Dynamis because the servers are still empty enough that, you know, there's just little visibility, but...
All right, I've said my piece. No more Gil sellers.
Okay. The last segment of today, of course, is the community check-in. I was going to pull up my poll numbers. So we asked everyone last week, how much Gil do you need? How much Gil do you need? Let me just bring up YouTube here.
We had 8 votes as well on the Discord.
8 votes on the Discord?
So maybe it'll count to swaying a vote, depending on...
Which way was Discord leaning?
Discord was a 3v3 tie with 35 to 50 mil and 100 plus mil. So that kind of mid-range-ish was were the tiebreakers or the ties.
Okay, and YouTube got 132 votes. So out of 132 votes, 30% thought 5 million or less is fine. Like, people on YouTube, the ones watching all these guild guides, they're like, oh, no, 5 is good.
They're new, they don't know what they're getting into yet.
45% was the 35 to 50 million is comfortable, which is fair. And then 14% for at least 100 million. So by far the winning category was in the 35 to 50 range.
Yeah, I think that's modest.
I mean, it kind of covers anything you might want. I mean, a house, furniture, apartments, like, it's not bad.
For the everyday player, that makes sense. And I say the everyday for players who play just about every day. Like, the regular player, I think that makes sense.
The casual regular. Yeah.
Casual regular, not die hard, wanting to get my golden Namazu mount. None of that, but the other ones.
Okay. And the upcoming poll for this week is going to be whether or not you've played 16. I want to know how many people are going to have a new experience versus how many people missed out the first time because it was PlayStation, or how many people are just like not interested in it at all. So let's find out how many 16 fans there are who will be playing on the 17th.
Excited.
Okay, and I think that's our episode for today. What are you going to be up to this week?
This week, nothing too special. Honestly, regular scheduled raids. I'll be streaming as usual my 5 days per week, everything but Mondays and Tuesdays. So yeah, just kind of regular, just chill hangs and raiding. How about yourself?
Awesome. Unfortunately, I as of today work Wednesday too, so I will be streaming tomorrow and then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Yeah, just a couple of chill streams, I think, to come down from work, and then of course we got Maps Friday night and Extreme on Saturday. So
perfect. I'm glad you're getting right through the Extreme.
We have yet to see a wing drop from Extreme 1, but I'm feeling hopeful. Oh no! We did see one. We ended last session with 1 wing drop. So out of 15 tries, 16, we've got 1 wing. Is that like normal?
Fair.
That's
normal. So I've cleared about under 50 times, between 40 and 50 times for both X's. And I think I've seen 2 to 3 per fight. Never won one. Go figure. But I've seen them. They do exist, just not for me.
They exist. That's fair. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me. It is always a pleasure to get to speak with you.
Likewise.
Awesome. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Tune in next week for more Final Fantasy breaking news, hopefully.
More than 1 new.
We're aiming for more than 1 new. Take care of yourself. Love yourself as much as you love others. And we'll see you in game. Bye.
Bye,